Well, I just thought I'd talk a little more about, in terms of research and patterning. As I said, I use the 1970s pattern because that worked for that. But sometimes, and there are more and more patterns put out by the major companies that are based on historic patterns. And I like those because then I know that they're based on something that's come from a historic source, if I'm trying to be historically accurate.
Sure.
So in fact, this is one that we use to fashion a dress from this more 1850s
You hold up the dress, I'll
period.
hold up the pattern.
So what's missing with this dress, it would be over a hoop of sorts. But what's nice is that it's a simple dress for a character that's meant to be more simple and country. And so we're choosing a fabric that's going to match that character's position in life and also her role in the play. But then we're getting the design lines that are taken from an actual garment of the time period, so that's nice. But maybe we don't have that, so maybe then we're going to use, here's another way to go, is a source like this. This is a famous woman named Janet Arnold who spent all of her life going through the Victoria and Albert Museum and looking at actual garments and dissecting them, taking them apart, taking detailed measurements and then laying those out and making those patterns up to scale. So what we would do then is take our pattern paper and grit it out and blow those up to get our pattern pieces. And this is a really great skill too for students to take something, and this is where some math is going to come into play.
Most definitely.
So as a costume designer, you can't get away with
like it's kind of this, it has to be
no,
precise.
it has to be pretty accurate when you're starting to build. So this happens to be a waistcoat, but nonetheless, we have to be very careful about the grain of the fabric, seam allowance, laying this out on the fabric with the grain in the right direction. So this is where we get into more technical detail, but again, it's really good to teach those skills to be more precise and careful. And then for the student to see how something flat then comes together to make something sculptural and three-dimensional in the form of the garment, which I don't think is complete until the actor has it on. And I don't even think it's complete in the fitting until we get it on stage and in the world of that play. So the interesting thing about theater is that it's really alive and living art in the moment.
Yes.
And so you know, I have the remnants of maybe my process and the artifact of the costume, but that's what it is. It's not really living until the actor is there and you're there in the moment and you see the play. Even we take pictures and we videotape, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
You can't
repeat that energy.
Right.
That's collective with everyone present.
Exactly. So, but I do just want to stress that for a costume designer, you really do have a lot of skills that over time you need to develop. So analysis and reading of a play, the historical, the research aspect, the creativity, of course, inspiration, knowledge of fabrics, knowledge of the time period. Some knowledge, not all designers have this, but I think it's really important to have some knowledge of how things are built, because then you can communicate to all those who you're relying on to build your work.
True.
So you've got to have a good relationship with the people who are building those costumes and be able to speak their language and see if something's not quite right, why is it not right, maybe it's in the way that it's been put together. And then I mentioned budget. So there's again that practical side. You might not want to worry about that, but again, that's where the numbers and balancing and being organized about, I've got to balance this budget and my time. I've got student labor. You know, how much time can we give them to do this project versus how much time I'm going to have once the rentals come in to do all the fittings.
Right.
My time balancing with teaching class, and so it's this juggling.
A lot of balls in the air.
But again, for a student designer, and when they're ready, we have students design, and for them, that time management skill is really important to build, along with the
project management, time management, and project management.
Exactly, like with what you do every day.
Yes,
you know,
juggling lots of balls. Yeah, exactly.
So again, there's this like long list of skills just with a simple thing like costume design, which you might not think about normally.
No, and that's one thing I love about Frame, because experts like you help us to understand the totality of the skills involved in creating something that we appreciate. Thank you for giving the overview to us.
You're welcome.